Canada's Sports Hall of Fame and the Guelph Games bring you My Canadian Moment, uniting through sport.
Hi, I'm Marnie McBean, and my Canadian moment, I actually have a tough time coming up with my Canadian moment. I'm kind of blessed with so many of them. My first Canadian moment could be the time when my rowing partner and I, Kathleen Heddle, were rowing up to the World Championships, the final of the World Championships. And as we were rowing up, we could hear them playing "O Canada" because the women's four had just won before us. That was a pretty cool moment, and it inspired us quite a bit to know that our friends had already won a gold medal at the World Championships. But then it happened again the next year at the Olympics. As we sat in the start gates for our Olympic final in Barcelona, we could hear from 2 kilometers away them playing the national anthem. That was a pretty incredible day. The next day, though, not only did I win my second gold medal, but Canada had won 4 gold medals. Silken Laman won the bronze. And it was this incredible energy of all my friends who just won gold medals in the rowing competition for Canada. My gold medal moment could have happened 4 years later when Kathleen Heddle and I, and again, in front of like this huge crowd in Atlanta, and there were so many Canadians who got to go to those competitions. We got to win again and hear our anthem, and every time it was different. The first time I heard the anthem, they actually played it. They ripped out a verse, and I had to sit there, and I thought I was getting the words wrong. But it wasn't me. They had just taken a verse out of our anthem, and it really made me think about it. And the next day when I sang the words, I really thought about them, and 4 years later, I'd actually practiced them quite a bit. But when Kathleen and I won in Atlanta for our 3rd gold medals, and they played the anthem, it was really special. It came with a full understanding of what was going to happen. You know, my Canadian moment might happen like way later in Vancouver. I was working as a mentor with our Olympic team when we marched into the stadium in Vancouver, and a really cool thing, like this awesome thing, I still kind of get goosebumps on my arms. I remember when Team Canada was marching into the stadium in Vancouver. Clara Hughes was up at the front carrying the flag, and before the team enters the stadium, we're like in the guts of the place. And I remember the whole team was walking along, and I was kind of like the team border collie, pushing everybody along. And then finally it was our turn. As the host nation, we were last. Finally it was our turn, and Clara Hughes turned and she started going up, and Team Canada walked. And I remember just thinking, man, this Olympic team has swagger. And they were so incredibly ready to do well at those games, which they did. But I think my Canadian moment's way more simple than that. It's actually back at the '96 Olympics. Kathleen Heddle and I were selected to be flag bearers, representing not just our Olympics, but the whole Olympics of Team Canada in our career. And we came in as co-flag bearers coming into that stadium in Atlanta, and that was a pretty awesome way for us to recognize what would have been the end of our Olympic career. But even that's not the real Canadian moment. After that, we went back into the stands, and when we joined Team Canada, everyone was sitting down, and before we sat down, Kathleen said, "Do you want me to go get a drink?" And so she went off and got a drink, and as she was coming back, you know, all she wanted to do was sit down and join us. And I said, "Hold on a second, Kathleen." And I pulled out my camera, and I took a picture of her. And in the picture, she's looking a little bit annoyed at me, which is true. And she told me later, "I was really annoyed when you took that picture. I just wanted to sit down and relax." But when I showed her the picture, it was the entire Canadian team behind her as we were joining them. And it was the entire Olympic Stadium for the closing ceremony behind her. And it was a super cool picture. So my Canadian moment was a collection of moments, really, which is, I think, how Canadians sometimes celebrate. It was a collection of moments, and it was with friends, and it was a behind-the-scene moment, and it meant a lot to me.
This moment brought to you by AMJ Campbell, Laza Food and Beverages, Everest, and Sleeman Beer. Share your favorite Canadian sport moment. Use hashtag MyCanadianMoment, uniting through sport.